Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast. This Week in America. In I Am Somebody, author Nicole Binder's new memoir, you follow the story of a young girl as she struggles to survive in the dangerous world around her. Molestation, rape, and addictions, and how she managed to survive them all and come out the successful woman she is today. Nicole was born in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, lived all over the world, calls herself an Army brat, 3 children, 10 grandchildren, and 1 great-granddaughter. Nicole Binder takes us through the life of an empowered survivor in her memoir, I Am Somebody, and she joins us on This Week in America. Nicole, welcome to the program. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
It is such an amazing story, what you went through and never gave up hope and came up now where you are offering that hope, that motivation, that inspiration to so many other people who are going through similar circumstances. First of all, let's start with why you decided to write this book. This had to be painful, and we'll talk about it during the course of the interview, but what was the inspiration for you to share your story in the book, I Am Somebody?
Well, I was in my active addiction, and I just was tired of living that kind of life. And actually, I was sitting in the bathroom sink picking my face, and I just started talking to my higher power, which is God, and said to him, like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be like this. I was a horrible person when I was using, and it just came into my head to write a book. So I went downstairs and said to my kids and everybody, I'm going to write a book. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. So I proved them wrong.
Yes, you did. And we'll go through the process. As I say, it had to be very difficult to write this book, but it has to be rewarding when you start getting young girls that come to you and write to you and thank you for guiding them out of the turmoil that they were facing in their lives. Let's talk about the process. When you first realized, I'm really going to write a book, what was the process like to actually get started, and how long did it take to write I Am Somebody?
It took me a couple of years to write it. It's really hard to sit and write about bad things that have happened in your life. So with the help of my counselor and stuff, we just brought out things that I even forgot about. And I just sat down with a notebook and started writing. And I would ask my higher power to help me to remember things. And so I'd carry a notebook wherever I went, and I would write. So, and then people would ask me, what are you doing? And I would tell them I'm writing a book. And then I would get speaking with other women, and there's so many women out there that the same things have happened to. It's sad. It really is sad.
Well, and you see that firsthand because you know from the experiences you went through, and now from the feedback you're getting, there's so many people coming forward and saying, I could have been Nicole. I was having the same life that you were having, and thank God there's a resource for me out there. The book is I Am Somebody. Nicole Binder is the author and our guest on the program. Book available at Amazon, the usual places. If you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, you can link on and get information on the book. You're writing the book, family skeptical in the beginning. They see that you're working on the book. Suddenly the book is published, and you're telling very truthfully this story, all of the pain that you went through. I mean, you're mentioning circumstances in your past. What was the reaction of the family in writing the book?
Well, the only one I was really worried about was my mom, because I never told anybody about what happened to me. I kept it all inside for so many years. And then all of a sudden, here we go, it's all out. And my mom told me she believed me about what happened. And that was the most important thing, was my mom believing me. And that made me want to go forward and do more and speak. And I go and speak to people and just whatever I can to help girls boys, women, men that have been through the same experience as I have.
Well,
There's a lot of, go ahead.
No, finish that thought. That's so important. Finish that thought.
A lot of people that things bad happen to them, like with me, become addicts. And that's what happened to me. I became an addict because I kept it all inside. But today, I have 12 years clean. Great. And I have a wonderful life. And anything is possible. Anything.
You've said so much up to this point. I want to go back to the higher power, the God part. And I almost get the impression that God was a co-author of this book as well. How much was that him sort of guiding you, motivating you to get it going, and sort of guiding you as to how to be honest and share this message to help other people?
Well, every time before I would write, I would sit down and ask God to help me to remember things and to get everything out. And that, because I remember back to when I was 2 years old. So that he did help me. God did help me. God's a big part of my life today because I got down on my knees and asked God to please take away my desire to get high. And I've been clean since.
And congratulations on that 12 years of being clean. With us is Nicole Bender. Her book is I Am Somebody. Book is available at Amazon, all of the usual places. A very, very powerful book. And if you're thinking, well, I don't have any problems, why would I want to read this book? This really is for everybody, isn't it? Because they're warning signs. They're things that we can do if we're approached by somebody who's got a problem. If we see that we think somebody has a problem, this book is for everybody.
Yes. There are a lot of warning signs. And because everything happened to me as a child, from the age of 5 on up, I thought it was normal for things like that to happen. I just thought it was normal. But now, like, I talk to young girls and like I tell them, like, you have warning signs. And if you feel, I call them red flags. And if you feel like something isn't right, throw up that red flag and say, whoa, wait a minute, like, this isn't right. Go tell somebody, go talk to somebody. Because I still talked to a girl years ago that bought my book, and I've helped. And she still calls and talks to me about all kinds of different things. So, and that's why I wrote my book. I want to help other people because a lot of girls and guys keep everything inside.
Yes.
And it's not healthy at all.
Is that...
Go ahead.
I was going to pick up on that because you talk about that in the book, and you've mentioned it during the interview, that you just kept quiet. You didn't want to say anything. Is that where this all begins, the whole devastation, depression? You need to get over that.
What happened was the same thing happened to my cousin. Okay, she told her mom, and her mom didn't believe her. So I thought, oh my, if I tell my mom's not going to believe me. So that's why I kept it all inside and never told nobody, not a single soul.
And you are giving an example of somebody who did come forward, tell somebody, and were able to do something. And let's go back to 5 years old, you're sexually molested by family members at age 5. Boy, that's got to be difficult. And again, what you're thinking, this happens, and you didn't tell anybody. And of course, at age 5, you really don't know what to do you?
No, you don't. You're a child.
Yes.
A little girl. And I just, that happened. And then it kept continuing afterwards. And I just thought it was normal, People do this to their kids and family and stuff. So I had no clue till I got older and finally, realized this isn't good. And I put my foot down and it stopped. But then because of what happened to me, I made a lot of poor decisions, like using. And because when I was using, I didn't have to think. I didn't have to feel, I didn't have to have any emotions because that was hard to live with as a child. I always thought I did something wrong.
Yes.
That it was my fault that this was happening to me.
You talk in the book about looking for love. That was very important to be accepted by people. Some of the situations you went through, rape and molestation, does that lack of love or looking for love open you up for molestations and making wrong decisions with sexual decisions?
Well, I always thought you showed somebody you love them by having sex.
Yes.
So when I was older, I wanted somebody to love me. I wanted to have a family and kids and just have a normal adult life. But I always seemed to pick the bad guys. So I was abused physically, mentally, emotionally. And I guess that's what I thought I always deserved. I didn't deserve any better. But I've been in counseling for 13 years, and I know that Nicole Binder, I am somebody, and I don't deserve to be treated like that ever again.
The book is I Am Somebody. Very simple to remember. Yep. It's a very powerful message by Nicole Binder. Nicole is Nicole, Binder, B as in boy, Inder. The book available at Amazon, the usual places. We, of course, will have all of that up on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Let's talk about how you got to that realization that I am somebody, I'm not going to take this anymore. Talk about maybe the lowest point you hit when, and I think people at that point, and I don't know, but just in reading and listening to people, you either get suicidal at that point or you decide to do something about your life when you hit that lowest point. Talk about what that was like when you thought life can't get any worse than this. I need to take control. I am somebody. I can turn this around. What was that like?
Well, all my life, I was always told I'd never amount to nothing and I'd never be nothing. And I just, it was from my family. And when you hear it so often, you start to believe it.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And I just thought all my life that I was a nothing and a nobody. And when I started writing my book, it was funny because how I came up with I Am Somebody. I was talking to my daughter's boyfriend and telling him, like, I am writing this book. Like, I'm going to do this. Because you know what? I said, I am somebody. And I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be treated with respect. I don't deserve to be walked all over because I didn't do anything. Because all my life I thought I had a big sign on my forehead that said, pick me, do bad things to Nicole. But I realized with the help of my counselor that I am somebody and I deserve better.
In writing,
and that's why.
And it turned your life around. It really did. It's so dramatic. The story that Nicole writes in her book, I Am Somebody. And in the book you talk about, it was painful to remember. Some days it was hard to sit and write. Talk about that because it's one bad situation after another that you recount, and you need to be honest if you're going to be effective in impacting people. Right. How difficult was that? And maybe as you're thinking, you're back and you go back and you remember something in the back of your mind you hadn't even thought about in a while, but writing the book brought it to the forefront. How do you handle that?
Well, I remember things with the help of my counselor and talking about it, and things would come out, and they would come out when I was sitting talking with her. So that helped me to be with her and getting all these. I had stuff back in my brain that I didn't even realize that it had happened to me. So I give her a lot of credit for helping me, because when you're writing, it took me years to write my book because it's so hard to sit down and write about all these bad things.
Yes.
And, and I would get very emotional, and then I couldn't write for a while because I didn't want to remember anything else. Because it's just, it was traumatic again to remember all this stuff. And I just, I thank God every day that I'm here, I'm alive, And,
What was this process like for you? And I'm thinking as you're talking, it had to be almost therapeutic. Maybe some of these things buried in your mind because you want them buried. Now you're dealing with these. Has it helped you go forward?
It was very therapeutic. Very, very.
Yes.
It helped me to get over, because I blame God for a lot of things that happened to me, because I thought, if there's a God, why is all this bad stuff happening to me? But I realized while writing my book that God was right there beside me, carrying me, holding my hand all those years that all this bad stuff happened to me. Because, yes, I did try to kill myself pretty many times. And I'm here for a reason. And I feel my reason is to help other people. And to, share my story.
Yes.
And, I want to help people.
The book
because people help me.
And you were helping them. I mentioned that in a second here. I want to do the book information again in case you're just joining us. I Am Somebody by Nicole Binder. I'll spell everything and give you the information as we wrap up the program here in a few minutes. But so much more to talk about. And you mentioned working with your counselor on this. There were other people that you talked with in writing the book. Talk about the importance of that, not just for you, but as a message to other people, that when you start opening up and talking about it with counselors or understanding people, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yes, because she helped me to realize that I didn't do anything wrong.
Yes.
It wasn't me. It was all the sick people out there in this world. And there are so many people that have really bad problems that have to do this to young girls. And it's a shame, because with talking with people while I'm writing my book, there's so many women and even men out there that have been molested. And it was, to me, it was so sad. And I was glad to know that I wasn't alone. You're not alone in this, because there's so many people out there that this has happened to.
What is it like when you have someone contact you and you've reached out to people? I know a young girl that you communicated with that might have ended up being like Nicole for a number of years had it not been your counseling of her and listening to her and giving her advice. What's that like when you actually see, and there are people out there that will be impacted by this that you'll never know about because they buy the book, they're not in your city, they don't know you. But those that you come in contact with, I can't think there'd be a better feeling than knowing, okay, I went through this, but I can.
It brings such joy to my heart. It does.
Oh, yes.
It brings such joy to my heart to know that people can come to me and ask me questions and talk to me and share their stories, and that I can help them. Because back, years and years ago, when I was young, there wasn't stuff like there is today to help people. And, and now people are talking about it, where before it was all hush hush. You can talk about stuff like that. It was all hush hush.
Well, and it's interesting. Some people would say now that we're talking about it, it probably happens with less frequency than it did before. And it sounds like you're finding it's still happening.
Yes, it is. It is, very much so. And it's sad. It's sad. It really is.
And I understand, go finish that thought, because it's so important, because just because we're facing it now, we talk about it, doesn't mean it's gone away. It's still prevalent.
No, because if you keep it inside, because I kept it inside, I became an addict, and I mean a bad addict. And I would have sold my soul to the devil to do what I was doing. But now today, I have so much joy in my life with all my grandkids and my great-granddaughter and my kids. And my kids at one time, they hated me because of my choices. But now today, they are so proud of me. And they tell me that all the time, that they're proud of me. And it's just, if you talk about it, get it out, you won't, it helps. It really does help. It does immensely. So
Well,
Don't keep it inside.
yes, secrecy never really solved any problem, did it? It's by being
No.
able to bring it out into the open and talking about it. And a couple minutes left in the program. I know your work is not done. I understand you're working on another book. Tell us a little bit what you can about the next book.
Yes, I'm working on that. It leaves off where the first one stopped, and it goes on because it's just because you get clean and bad things still happen. Like, I'll give you an example what's going to be in my next book. My fiance died, and with me to deal with that, I went back out and used. But I got clean, and I have 12 years now. And then also me and my grandson hit a semi head on. So I'm very lucky to be here today. So that's why I feel that God has a plan for me, that I'm to be here to help other people.
How long do you think before the book will be available?
I'm not sure. I'm still writing. So I'd say maybe another year, if sooner maybe.
Well, good luck with that, because that continues the story. And I've got about 2 minutes left in the program, but I need to ask, if somebody thinks, okay, once I just declare I am somebody and suddenly it's like a light bulb is turning on, my life turns around and I'm very successful. That's not the way it works, is it? You went through a transformation, maybe a journey you're still involved in to try to be successful, a happy life, and keep it.
Yes. It's every day. I do one day at a time, because every day is a challenge for me. I'm raising my grandson. I've had him since he was 3 years old. So that's a lot of stress on me, because I'm getting up there in age, and,
We all are, yes.
But, yeah. But every day, one day at a time, I have a lot of joy in my heart today, where before I just had a lot of hatred. So I just feel, I feel every morning I wake up, I thank the Lord. So
if somebody would have said to you when you're in your 20s that, Nicole, if you do the right thing, someday you're going to be very happy and successful, would you have believed it then that you could have had this dramatic turnaround in your life?
No, never. I would have thought, no, not me. Because I always thought myself as a loser, and, no.
Well,
but today I am somebody, and I deserve to be happy. So
all of that is true, and I love the title of the book, and it's very simple for people to remember, because once you get down and once you start believing when somebody says you're not adequate enough, you're a loser, it's no, I am somebody. The name of the book, it's Nicole Binder. That's Nicole, and Binder is Binder. Book available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the usual places, and you can link on directly by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Nicole, thank you for being with us on the program. Congratulations on the book. 12 years of being sober, of being clean. It's such an inspirational story. Look forward to having you back when the new book was out. And thank you. I know it's difficult to write the book and to come back and talk about it to a total stranger, but you're helping so many people. I really appreciate this. Thank you for being with us on the program.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Nicole Binder is the author of I Am Somebody, book available at Amazon. Information on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. And we're back after these messages.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, associate producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, segment producer. Ben Watson, webmaster. Otto Bechet, director of engineering and TV production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, executive producer of This Week in America.